So one day, I am digging through my basement, through the piles and various layers of garbage that have accumulated there over the years, attempting to find this Jersey-style granola press. And what this is it makes granola bars. It's kind of like, my dad got it for Christmas from his mom. And it's kind of like one of those Texas bloomin' onion makers, you know, you use it once and then you put it back in the box and then it sits somewhere accumulating dust. I really think it's a pretty terrible product because, you know, if you want granola bars, you can really just go to the store and buy granola bars. And I mean, like, at least with the bloomin' onion machine, I mean, you can't go buy a bloomin' onion, you know what I mean? But the granola bars, why would you make them? But that's not the point. The point is, Derek called me earlier that day, and he's like, dude, I'm like in the middle of a batch of granola bars, and my granola press broke. Can I use yours? And I'm like, you make granola bars for fun? Anyway, so I'm digging through my basement looking for it. And I stumble upon this huge, dusty old tome, a book, in layman's terms. And it's got like all these runes on it and some pictures and stuff.
What Matthew Marshall had discovered was an ancient book of the Norwegian people. Books of this nature were left behind in many places throughout the world, as a means of advertising for the Norwegian people. The opening line of the book even says, "Come to the land of Norwegia, home of the relentless Vikings." Advertising had advanced greatly over the past several thousand years. The travel brochure contained the answers to the origin of the scavenger hunt, as well as an accounting of an epic tale.
So I start leafing through the thing, and I'm thinking to myself, maybe I should show this to someone, because it seems important, and I don't know what it is. And I'm just thinking to myself, what the?
So Matt shows me this book, right? And it's all in Norwegian language. And luckily for us, my cousin Leopold had just flew in from Norway, and he translated the whole thing for us. Fortunately, I was still just as dumbfounded as Matt, because we really didn't know what to do with the thing.
I was really dumbfounded.
We were both just like, what the fuck?
So Mike and Matt bring me the book, and I'm leafing through it, and I start to realize something. They did it. It's travel brochure. Now, it's the most lengthy and unwieldy one that I've ever seen, but a travel brochure nonetheless. I guess the Norwegians just had a knack for doing things epic, even in their advertising. So we're looking through it, and we start realizing that Mike's cousin Leopold is probably not getting the translation quite right. I mean, the basics are there. We're talking about there's this guy, Leif, and he and his crew, they go and best the gods at this sport that they've been wrecking the land with for, you know, hundreds of years. But just certain things aren't coming out right. I mean, if you look at it, you get passages like this one. Odin was bested by Leif Eriksson and his boat men and boat women, for he could not compete with them, for they were truly the champions of PowerPoint presentations. I mean, when you look at that, you start to say, no, this probably isn't translated right. So we're sitting around this thing, and I pretty much go, what the f*** am I on?
So basically, once they showed me the book, I went through the various chapters and passages, and I used a lot of context clues to figure out that Leif Eriksson was indeed the master of the scavenger hunt. The sport he engaged in was the scavenger hunt.
So Derek shows up at my house, swearing up a storm, demanding the granola press, still ticked off about his batch of bars, which are now probably ruined. And he looks at the book, and he just starts laughing in his fat way and going, what if this guy was actually a scavenger hunter?
Really fit perfectly that Leif Eriksson was a scavenger hunter. Him and his crew always used to go out and do all these epic tasks and find all these things for the gods. It just made perfect sense that he was the greatest scavenger of all time.
Yeah, it said scavenger hunter.
2 words. Total luck.
I was an integral part of the process.
So we read the story, this really long story of the book. And it's kind of like reading the Iliad. Like, it's really long, but awesome. And we were thinking to ourselves about how awesome it would be to be in one of these scavenger hunts.
And so we're like, what if we recreate the events of the book? We'll have people running all over the place, doing crazy deeds, collecting all these kinds of, nonsensical items for 24 hours straight.
So we decided to call it the Leif Eriksson Classic. It was a 24-hour video scavenger hunt, held in classic Norwegian style.
We really had no clue what we were getting ourselves into.
They had no freaking clue.
The initial concept was simple. We hold a scavenger hunt in the classic Norwegian style. Of course, a few things have to be changed.
So in the first draft of the idea, the whole thing was set at sea in Norway. And we had ships of 40 to 60 men and women competing over these vast tracts of land, and the head of Olga, the barbarian mistress of the sea. But we ran into some financial difficulties, and there were a few insurance problems. And we also learned that they don't make Viking longboats anymore.
You guys, 300 footers, 40 to 60 people.
Remember, like, wood, 3rd century, you know?
Hey, how you guys
Doing good. We're in the market for 4 Viking longboats, wooden, preferably 3rd century-ish. What do you have in stock?
Do the paddles come with those, or do we have to buy those separately by chance?
Well, if I had any, you would be buying those separately. But this is not your good day.
You don't have any in stock?
None in stock.
So all those things combined pretty much were the downfall of draft 1.
So in the second draft again, we decided to hold in Western Pennsylvania instead. Not really focusing on the physical aspect of the game, beards, bows, death, gods, all the fun stuff. We really wanted to more focus on the spirit of the Norwegian style, trying to get as close to the 3 degrees as we could. Still be 24 hours long. We'd still separate people into teams. Of course, they would still be going after these great artifacts and accomplishing mighty deeds.
So we're working on the second draft of the Leif Eriksson Classic, and it comes to our attention that we really don't have a group name. A good name really gives you a place to rally behind. It gives you kind of a sense of unity. And that's basically when we came up with the worst name ever. And it's all my fault.
So, we're at a planning session at our local fine dining establishment, and the subject of a name comes up. And we toss around a few ideas, none of them quite working out. One of us, I think it was me, bursts out, "We should be the fun committee!" And this prompts a roar of laughter from everyone there. Except Derek. He just starts going off, all irate in his incredibly obese fashion about how stupid a name it is. And then a couple of months go by, and it never gets brought up. And I think we all forgot about it. Like, I know I did. And I'm pretty sure that none of us would have even remembered that name if it wasn't for the car ride. Okay, next week we got lined up camera rentals and buying power adapters for the cars.
Oh, about power adapters. Walmart sells them for like 15 bucks. I checked online. And what we can do is if we take them out of the package real carefully, what this basically lets us do is Walmart will take back anything. So they'll save us a bunch of money. Because then we, accept Walmart bucks and you can buy anything at Walmart. So,
Yeah.
The other thing we need to do though is that we need to get the packet. We need to finish, writing out the whole packet. I can't remember the old company name we used though, so we're gonna have to remember it. Probably think of a new one.
Yeah, what was that?
Guys, remember the Fun Committee? The world's most craptacular crap name?
Oh yeah. I completely forgot about that. I think everyone else did too. Thanks, Derek.
Son of a
So Intel hates it that much. Obviously, we have to keep it.
Oh boy, did he hate that name.
Yeah, Derek's just a complete I mean, I can't believe.
So under a new banner at the Fun Committee, or FunCom as we would shorten it to, we started really getting into the nitty-gritty of what was going on. We each took a certain aspect of the event and planned it out, really gave it structure. I was in charge of the video equipment and making sure that everyone on the teams would get a camera and they know how to operate it, so we could hopefully get some quality footage from the DVD and wouldn't break anything.
I was basically in charge of the human element. I made sure that advertising got out, and I was in charge of finding people to participate in the game and making sure that they came. And I was also in charge of making sure that the game opening ran without a hitch.
My major role in the game was inventory and financing. I made sure that all the cars were stocked with scavenger kits and that everybody in the game actually paid. My task during the Leif Eriksson Classic was to basically be in charge of the game elements themselves. I was in charge of making sure that each game, each player, each team understood the rules and basically the spirit and ideas of the game. I also made sure that various game elements were created, like the packets and that the scavenger heads got